Hunting for treasure started off as a pastime for me. Any drawer or cabinet that was left unattended was mine for rifling through. I'm sure you are now planning to lock up all of your belongings before ever inviting me over. Don't worry, I now know when to keep to myself. Well, sort of. As a tiny little girl, I had more curiosity than was normally seen in the average single-digit aged kid. I was probably the reason schools gave us those lectures about how medicine in the cabinets was most certainly not candy, and that the skull and crossbones meant poison, rather than hidden pirate's booty, as I would have preferred. I can recall many times where I had been caught looking through vanities filled with jewelry and makeup. Looking back on this is funny, seeing that nowadays I almost never wear makeup or jewelry. I was never really scolded for my snooping. Usually the person who found me would just laugh it off and try to redirect my attention to something that would keep me out of trouble. After my little brother and my 2 little cousins were born, however, I quickly realized how useful my snooping could be. By then, I had been through every single one of my grandparents' bathroom cabinets, and therefore knew exactly where the Band-Aids were and even the various sizes of bandages that they had in stock. Being the natural take-charge kind of girl that I was, I would see a scraped knee and immediately march up to the bathroom to gather the first aid supplies before any of the adults could calm the crying kids to figure out what was wrong. This, of course, led to many stories being told around the fire at family gatherings about my peculiar snooping habits. They would laugh and pick on me for being such a bad kid, and for always sticking my nose where it didn't belong. Of course, my passion for snooping only continued as I grew. All too often around the holiday season, the rolls of tape would go missing. I would be halfway through wrapping a package and realize that I didn't have any tape to keep it all together. It was almost like my spidey sense was tingling as I began my search. Somehow, the tape always ended up shoved into my older brother's dresser drawers, or stuffed in a box of Crayola markers in my little brother's room. While on my never-ending hunts for tape, I learned to take mental notes of all the contents of each spot. I'd see a lost screwdriver here, a pair of scissors there, you name it. Somehow, I learned to catalog it all into my brain. I have gotten to the point where sometimes I will go through a drawer or cabinet or closet just to refresh my memory and to archive anything that wasn't there before. Later on, my mom would say something along the lines of, "Hey, I can't seem to find the Allen wrenches," to which I would respond, "They are in Tim's dresser in the top drawer." Might I add that somehow a good portion of our missing items end up in that exact drawer. Anyways, my whole family soon grew to rely on me as their personal household inventory index. Nothing goes missing for too long in our house as long as I am at least a phone call away. And yes, I still get phone calls from my mom and my brothers asking where something is, even though I am 196 miles away from home. In fact, I called my mom to catch up just last week, and she took advantage of the opportunity by asking me where her external hard drive went. Now, keep in mind that I have not been home since the beginning of January, and during that time that I was home, I had absolutely no reason to know where her hard drive was. But I figured I'd give it a shot. I asked if she had checked the junk box in her home office that usually ended up being the home for lost iPhone cords, headphones, and that one cord that probably is important for something, so you just keep it around just in case. Unfortunately, I had guessed wrong. Then I suggested the downstairs computer desk. Bingo! Both my mom and I laughed as we realized how crazy it was for me to know that while not even being home. One day, my brother asked me where one of the cords for his guitar amp went. I told him that the last place I had seen it was shoved inside the back of the actual amp. Lo and behold, that's where the cord was. That was when he coined the saying in my house that goes something like, "If Kate doesn't know where it doesn't exist anymore." And honestly, I think this might be true. Every time someone else loses something, I can find it easy peasy. But I have yet to find many of my own lost belongings. Besides my inability to find my own stuff, I have used my habitual snooping as a superpower to better my family. I guess it just goes to show that a little curiosity can prove to be a good thing once in a while.